Hi, this is a video response to Alejandro's post. First, very well spoken, great post. I think you covered what you wanted and needed to cover very well, so fantastic. So the personal connection that you state after reading Leopold is a very not only was it moving to hear that personal connection, but I think that's really what he's trying to evoke. So I'm glad that you connected with that. The whole idea of getting out of it that hearts and minds need to be one, I do think that we sometimes get very stuck in this cognitive mode. We get stuck in just the thinking of it, or even just the logic of it, without going back to how our hearts, how we as people, as humans, connect with the environment, how we're part of it. So I think that's a very good direction to go in. Also a great example when you talked about McDonough and Braungart and the coming from the private sector, that you have some very specific knowledge of how these sorts of things work. It is really about changing our way of life. It's changing the way we do business. It's changing the way we lead our lives on a daily basis, how we see ourselves as consumers, and all of that comes into play. And I think that maybe linking that with the ideas from Leopold would be a good way to go. So how do you feel that connection between yourself and the environment, while at the same time thinking about your own position as a consumer, as a worker, etc. The wildfire example is really good too. So I'm pleased that you brought in kind of an outside example that's illustrative. And I think that's a very good example and works very well. So perfect. The Aguiman reading you've spent not a huge amount of time on, but that sense of responsibility I think is key. So you did, I think, find one key thing that's a very good difference between those two administrations in particular, the sense of responsibility, which I think you could see on multiple fronts, or a very different vision of what we're responsible to. Your pragmatic approach is very welcome, and it's something that you often see people get bogged down in one side or the other. They get bogged down in the details of, but we have to have a strong economy, we have to whatever, versus no, we have to, the world is irreplaceable, and somewhere in between is where we have to be. We have to find that balance. So that pragmatic balance is, I think, a very good direction to go in. And of your three options, I think I probably share some of your perspective on this, that number three, this utopian vision, sounds fantastic of we need to change the paradigm completely. But really, number two, option two, is a very good one. Option two, focusing on the best of what efforts we're making right now, while at the same time trying to come up with new efforts. Anything we shift towards prevention of these issues in the first place is a very good thing. We get very caught up in dealing with the after effects without thinking too much about how to sort of redesign what's happening in the first place. We can't drop everything in redesign, but if we shift our attention in that direction, there's a good chunk of research out there that tells us that if we shift towards prevention and redesign, we get around a 10-to-1 exchange on, if you think of it in monetary terms, I think it's $8 to $12 per $1 when we shift to prevention efforts and trying to redesign systems in a way that makes them functional from the start, instead of just dealing with the after effects. So I think that's kind of the way it has to be. Anyway, all told, great post. Thank you for your input, and I look forward to hearing from you during your next post.